Good morning. We're at another session of our Q4 strategy sessions. We have none other than Andy Guelcher, the principal, GM, whatever you call him, whatever we call him. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to EVs. We call him other things off camera.
We call
because
him
he
the
can take
AI
it.
poster child.
We did.
You know, whatever you want to call the guy, he answers when food is on the table.
Oh my gosh. So. Welcome, Andy. You wanted to show up this morning to get roasted.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. That's great. Great start. Awesome.
It's his love language. Let's get into it. So Q4 is coming. We had a major transition with the EV federal tax credit expiring. You have a pretty direct perspective on this, that when it expired, you said, like, good, it's about time. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, I think that they've been around since essentially the Bush administration, maybe even slightly before that. And I think they really are at a time when they got to stand on their own, right? They got to stand on their own. And there's enough product out there in the market. There's enough penetration in the market where I think you're starting to see prices come down. General Motors is releasing the Bolt again next year.
$29K, baby.
Yeah, the affordability issue is a big deal. And I think that's going to be a really, really great thing to address that. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, you know, you kind of just said this, like, there's enough product in the market. We have been discussing that the fact that you incentivize this like rush on EVs actually creates a lot more product just on the road that you can see. Like, as an anecdote, are you just seeing locally a bit more of, oh, I see EVs on the road and now I'm taking an interest in that? Is that playing out kind of in the showroom?
It is. And I think that, you know, people are getting more comfortable with it because they're starting to see the infrastructure. I mean, if you look at infrastructure from a charging standpoint today, just in New York State versus 3 years ago, it's wildly different. So the range anxiety, which was the primary concern of most consumers, always really starting to go away. And to your point, seeing them out there and seeing kind of the adoption, your neighbors, your friends, the peers, right? That's a big deal too. And that's certainly helping with it.
Tell us about, used EVs. Are you selling a lot of used EVs? What's your strategy there, especially heading in now that the tax credit is gone, heading in through the end of the year?
So I think we don't sell a ton of used EVs, but I think over the next 18 to 24 months, you're going to start to see a lot of these used EVs come off of lease, and they're coming off at residual values that were, in some cases, artificially lowered to be able to hit part of the sales strategy from OEMs. So you're going to have a very, very large segment of affordability in used cars because of all these used EVs coming back off lease. And I think that's going to make for a very interesting conversation because everybody's talking about payments and, you know, there's no cash down and we're going to 84 months right now. And this is really going to help with a lot of that. And we'll have a much improved infrastructure to charge them. And the peers and, you know, the seeing them out on the road and people adopting them just because other people are doing it will start to take a little bit more of a hold too. So I think it's not a perfect storm, but I think there's an opportunity coming, and I think we got to be ready to take it.
When do you think that's going to start to happen?
Yeah.
As soon as these cars start to come back off lease, and I think once people get over unfortunately, it's still kind of a political polarization issue, the EV versus non-EV, and it's just another power.
Do you feel like that's going away though? Like, do you feel like it's on a decline?
I think it is a little bit, but it's just another powertrain. And I think with AI and everything that's going on with factories and, you know, AI doing a lot of this stuff, I think we're going to see another maybe 2 or 3 powertrains over the next decade. So, and it's just going to be the next powertrain. So it starts to subside and that kind of, you know, narrative starts to go by the wayside. I think it's going to help with the adoption too. But I really, really think that from a used car affordability standpoint, over the next 18 to 24 months, it's going to be a really, really big deal.
Well, I think that that's an interesting call on like next wave adoption, because majority of affordability is focused at like younger professionals or people entering the buying process or the necessity to buy a car. And from a cultural relevance, you see younger people probably leaning into net new technologies a little bit quicker. So now they can afford that used EV, and it primes them for powertrain, agnosticism, essentially. Like I now don't rely on the powertrain as the point of purchase. It's the affordability. And so I get into the market, probably a generation that doesn't need, or a buying persona that doesn't need a lot of range. They're not going on long trips. They're staying a little bit more local. And so used EVs becoming kind of an arbitrage way to get into the ecosystem seems like that's one I hadn't even considered. That's why.
Yeah,
that's why we had Andy on the show today.
Yeah.
There you go. Another layer to this onion is all of the technology and the products that are coming that are going to be able to access vehicle to home charging, vehicle to grid charging eventually. And you're starting to see that with the utilities come to fruition. So we're going to be in a world where essentially you can have products that complement your EV, where you could theoretically make your payment to the lender, or you're doing arbitrage with the utility and you're able to get a check back on a monthly basis. And I really think as these products continue to get more normalized and drop in price, that also becomes part of the conversation, right? So now I can use my car for just more than transportation. It can charge my house. I can get money back from my, utility. That's got to be part of the conversation too. And that will continue to build momentum as well.
All right. Bringing us back to Q4 of this year. So you have a Chevy dealer. So you're selling EV Silverados, you're selling EV Blazers. What else are you selling?
BrightDrop, the large van, which I think.
Do they have a smaller version of that van?
They do. Well, there's two versions of the van. One is still pretty big, and one is just.
I saw one that was like the size of like a big Chevy Astro.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, it's a little bigger than that, but because my first business was a reconditioning business.
Out back, if you want me to try and convert it for you, Paul, I know that'd
great.
Be
Well,
cool.
put some shag carpet on the dash for me. No, but I saw that and I started drooling because my first company, like it was man and van business model. We reconditioned and did wheels and all. And I was like, I want to start a service business out of that thing. You do tons with commercial. Is that a big part of your EV strategy moving forward? How do you see fleets adopting it?
Well, there's a program right now through New York State that's probably going to run through the end of the year because the money's going to run out really fast, where these BrightDrops to businesses are almost free. It's that much money. And that's a big deal. So what you're going to see over the next 60 to 90 days is a ton of BrightDrops getting sold to a lot of businesses in New York State because this program is out there right now. And that's going to be.
Well, give me some more details on this program.
We got to go.
I'm about to start a service business right now on this show. But no, what are some of the details of that? You say almost free. So what's the truck cost? What's the incentive?
So I want to say the incentive is $50,000 per vehicle. I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's pretty close. And I don't have.
What are the criteria for qualification?
Tax ID number for 3 years. The business has to operate the vehicle for 5 years, 5,000 miles per year, 80% of which has to be done in New York State. So there's some tags on
I think More Than Cars needs a production van like right now.
Holy cow.
And listen, dude, and if you're trading something in, if you're taking something out of service, the incentive gets even bigger. It's a very, very lucrative program. Very lucrative program.
I'm about to be driving a More Than Cars production van all over this town.
All over this.
And like, just for those of you who don't know, Andy has gone so far into commercial over the past 5 years that I live in Syracuse and Andy is like, I don't know, we like about 30 minutes north of Albany. So you're about 2.5 hours from me and I'm driving by your billboards in my city.
My man.
Yeah.
Wow.
He goes, my man.
I want to ask you,
commercial's the way.
How do you get this into the showroom, like from a retail perspective and the training, the requirement of knowledge on this for your people? How are you making sure that you're keeping your people on top of the changes, the shifts, the understanding of like how the market is moving, what GM is doing and getting that practically down to the showroom? So
literally before I hopped on here with you guys, I was on a call with GM Energy. I'm installing one of their systems in my home. And one of my caveats to doing that was having them come and train our whole team on the system that's going into my home so they can speak intelligently about it to our customers. Because one of the biggest pain points you have going back to the technology that connects the car is the lack of knowledge from the sales consultant standpoint, from a service advisor standpoint. They really don't know what this stuff is or what it does yet. If we can bridge that gap and we become the energy expert up to or excluding rather the install, that has to be a qualified electrician. But if we can know as much as we can about these systems to relay this knowledge to the customers, that also breaks down a large fear barrier that still exists. Oh, I don't really know what that is, or you're going to have to call somebody else. And this is a large reason why a lot of customers purchase their charger online instead of buying it at the store with the car, because the service advisor, I don't really know that. We need to have a culture where everybody knows enough about it to speak intelligently about it. And that's what we're working toward.
I'm kind of like at the end of this, it's not what I expected, but this is really getting back to taking a holistic approach to EVs. When most people are thinking like, how do I sell what I have? You're like, no, it's like, look at what's coming down the pipeline, make sure that you're in a position to be at the center of this energy conversation. And all the other stuff kind of comes naturally to a dealer. This is the vehicle. These are the features, right? This is how much it costs. This is how we finance it. But I'm going to roll the outro music because I think like the fire hydrant needs to close. It's too early for this. Everybody to get this. Andy, thank you as always for sharing your time with us and your expertise with the industry. It's good to know that you're out there fighting the fight. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.